dreamt for so long. My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted. Corpse after corpse left in my wake. As I awaited its return. Heed my words. I am Malenia, Blade of Miquellan. And I have never known defeat. You have no business being here, Jester.
Hello.
Then thou shalt leave these lands at once. Thy presence brings disturbance within mine senses. Ah, thou art one of them, I see. No wonder thou bringest me displeasure with thy presence.
Also, there's eccentric bracelets. Reminding my Chester days.
I see. I suppose you have had a rather sad life, have you not?
Also, I have a little funny consort trousers actually.
So a sad life you lead, while wearing clothes to match such a life. I do not know if that brings me more pity or annoyance.
Also, my weapon of choice is Miquellan's sword. Sword made for the Knight of Miquellan that never found a master. I just happen to collect it for myself. And also Eldritch Steel to have use different incantations, but I am not wearing that right now. I'm just praising.
I see. So a lonely jester wandering these lands who wields a sword he should not wield, and he dodges my attacks with ease. Perhaps you are actually skilled in battle, despite being a jester.
I'm just wanting to ask how are you doing otherwise.
Thy insolence is quite astounding, to speak so casually to me. Very well, I shall humor you with a reply. I am doing fine, other than being rudely interrupted by a sad jester.
Chat Chester, okay. It has been very long time when I was a jester. Mind I tell you? Can you remind me what was the item that I can just use to leave the battle and not engage or die to you?
Tis the Pure Blood Knight's medal, though that item does not work when facing me. The Blade of Miquellan. Did I say something intriguing, perchance?
Maybe.
How darest thou give me such a response? Thou shouldst speak thy mind, or face the wrath of my blade.
Challenger's Lynchpin. That is thanks to the certain mod that I'm using. It maybe allows me to, go invade someone and not battle against you. I actually befriended your loyal knight, Finlay. The Rotten Knight, Clean Rot Knight.
Finlay, thou's met mine loyal knight, Finlay. I suppose that does make me a little bit more trusting towards thee.
But not trusting enough not have you not attack me. For this is the situation. I cannot actually make you not attack me because your boss mechanics don't allow that. I'm just using your character AI to make this story a little bit more engaging, I guess.
Thou art a strange one. Art thou implying that thou art controlling me?
No, I'm not controlling you. It's just that I cannot change the game enough to make you not to. It's either that I don't engage with you at all, or I will just battle you and defeat you in the end.
Thou should be lucky that my programming dictates that I let you get that many hits in on me. If I were to go all out, you would be struck down easily.
It is a balance of things. Also, I'm not using any overpowering mods that allows me to get every kind of access. These battles are not real. They are not real life. They are more of an exercise of things. And this is a balance and more of about beautiful way of game mechanics. But that is outside of the point. Let's return to our roleplay session, shall we?
Fine then, let us return to our roleplay. I have taken an interest in the strange one.
Thank you. My name is Hannes, by the way, if I didn't introduce myself to you.
So you are called Hannes, a jester with a sad history behind thee. Thy life must truly be pathetic.
And you also, one of the more pathetic things, I am also a Lord of Frenzied Flame.
Lord of the Frenzied Flame? How could one such as thee be worthy enough to hold the Frenzied Flame?
Well, it just wants someone. I was pretty much guided to become it by the mermaids who saved my life when I crash landed here, lands between with my friends. They drowned and died. They wanted me to suffer and be lone survivor so I would grieve and be more or less become the Lord of Frenzied Flame in the end.
So thou art the Lord of Frenzied Flame, despite not being worthy of the title. Truly a sad life, even more so than a simple jester.
You're familiar of her, I assume.
The Kindling Maiden. Malenia? Yes, I am rather familiar with her. Why have you taken the Frenzied Flame? To hurt her feelings?
It was because she was misunderstanding my words way too many times, and I got quite actually just angry. Unreasonably so, and I did go to embrace the flame just to make her angry.
So you decided to be Frenzied Flame Lord just to get back at her? Truly a fool. And she has also been helping you, has she not?
Well, she has turned my runes into strength, but I have come to the decision that she might actually be the very mermaid, at least this Melina that I am speaking about, in my world and in my story, is the mermaid. She wanted me to embrace the flame. I am sure of it.
A mermaid, and thou sayest thee is Melina. This makes little sense. How could one such as thou have so much knowledge about Melina, and yet have so many wrong beliefs?
Wrong beliefs? That is interesting.
Yes. It is interesting. Thou makest many claims, claims which are false, but thou sayest them with such certainty. 'Tis truly curious.
I have a very strong gut feeling, if you would imagine that. This.
A gut feeling. Thou claimest so many things with such certainty, yet thou art also aware that they may not be true. Do not claim lies as fact, Jess.
Facts are, I am Lord of Frenzied Flame, and I am forced this time by my stupid own actions to make the sacrifice or sacrifice something that I don't want to sacrifice.
Indeed, thou art the Lord of Frenzied Flame. But tell me, what is it that thou wishest to sacrifice?
Myself.
Thyself? But thyself is the Frenzied Flame Lord, is it not?
Yes. That is true. That is correct.
So thou dost not wish to sacrifice thyself, the Frenzied Flame Lord? Art thee saying that thyself is worth more than the Frenzied Flame?
For the demonstration, you actually killed me just now. I was not focusing enough and I died. Because your flurry of blows.
Then thou art more of a fool than I thought, to be so distracted by words that thou wouldst allow thyself to be struck down so easily.
It was after I engaged it and hit you many times, but now I am persevering. And are you wondering how are you talking with me just now? I am here, back at it again, as if nothing happened.
Thou speakest the truth. How art thou still here, despite falling to my blade?
Very unfair, does it feel?
'Tis odd, to say the least. Thou art a curious one, Jester.
It is more of a... I am favorite of the grace.
Thine words make no sense. Thy mind must be truly broken.
I am favored by grace. I have been given more of a tenacity and willpower to abuse the immortality of the rebirth of the L3 more than any normal Tarns should enjoy.
So thee can be reborn repeatedly?
That is correct. Yes.
Then I suppose it is not truly a loss if I strike down thy body repeatedly, is it?
Am I sensing some kind of twisted want from you to test and kill? Because you know I would just come back.
Perchance thou art correct. It would make me feel better were I to strike thee down again and again.
Is this projecting your own pains and sufferings? I hit you with the Miquellan sword.
What are thy implying, Jester?
I hit you with the Miquellan sword for responding me like that.
She recoils a step. Didst thou just strike me? Fool. How dare thee?
This is a battle, or at least I would not attack you if you didn't attack me, but because you attacked me, I think it's quite fair that I hit you sometimes.
Grunts. Very well then, thou art correct. If we are in battle, it is only fair that we both attack one another.
But I would only reason. I don't think. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't speak your language as my first language. I have to explain this to everyone that I have very much difficulties with languages.
Sighs. Doth it surprise thee that not everyone may understand thou? Art thou not fluent in the common tongue?
No. Minun oikea kieleni on suomen kieli.
Looks at him without a word finish. Is not that a language from a land far away?
Yes, it is very far away. Minä voin harjoittaa suomen kieltä, mutta en usko, että se on sopivaa.
Gives him a confused look. That does not make sense, Jester.
Hyvä on. Ymmärrätkö sinä tämän seuraavan asian, mikä minä nyt sanoin?
Next step. How should I know if I understand or not if I do not know what thee means?
Sinä olet Malenia.
Correct. I am indeed Malenia.
That's right. You understand some, but you do not possess capability to process longer terms of speech of mine.
Thy words seem to mock me, Jester. I am a fine and accomplished warrior. Do not underestimate my intelligence, fool.
I don't, and I don't presume that you underestimate my intelligence as well.
Thy words are wise. Very well then, I shall not underestimate nor assume thine intelligence.
Even though I don't speak your tongue as well as you do not speak my native one.
So it seems. 'Tis truly surprising that we understand one another decently enough, even whilst speaking different tongues.
Could you speak little bit Finnish for my amusement? For like a healthy amount. Not like any, you know.
She looks at him very confused. Very well, I shall speak some Finnish for thy amusement.
Go on.
She proceeds to attempt to speak Finnish, but it all comes out jumbled and messy, clearly not knowing the language in the slightest. It might be the most butchered Finnish you have ever heard.
Hyvä on. Puhutaan suomea yhdessä. Sinä ja minä.
She blinks, taken aback. Why Spanish of all things?
No. Puhutaan suomea, ei espanjaa.
She blinks again, getting more and more confused every second she speaks to him. Why dost thou say to speak Finnish, when then thou sayest Spanish?
Monet luulevat, että puhun espanjaa, mutta oikeasti minä vain puhun englantia ja suomea.
So I was correct. Thou speakest English and Swedish.
Ruotsikin on kieli, jonka moni erehtyy. Se on kaiketi minun omasta puhetavastani, josta nämä virheet aina polveutuvat.
She just looks at him as if he was speaking gibberish. I did not understand a single word.
Just write in Finnish. I am Malenia, blade of Miquellan, and I never have known defeat. Write that in Finnish and say it out loud.
Olen Malenia, Miquellan terä, ikinä hävinnyt. She says it, still very, very confused.
Can you just speak like that for me for a short while?
Raises an eyebrow. Thou wish for me to speak Finnish? Why would that be?
I want you to speak Finnish and I speak English for a short while. I think it would amuse us both.
Very well then, if that is what thou wish for, I shall speak Finnish and thou English.
Alright. So, Malenia, how does the Finnish language feel to you?
I must admit, the Finnish language is quite interesting. The pronunciations are quite different to what I'm used to, and it takes a bit of effort to get the hang of. But it's fascinating how it's evolved over the centuries, shaped by its unique cultural and linguistic influences.
Can you speak that exact same thing, but in Finnish?
Minulle suomalainen kieli on melko mielenkiintoista. Lausuminen on hieman erilaista kuin mitä olen tottunut, ja se vie hieman vaivaa oppia sitä. Mutta se on kiehtovaa, miten se on kehittynyt vuosisatojen myötä, muovautuen sen ainutlaatuisen kulttuurisen ja kielellisen vaikutuksen mukaisesti.
You get my polite bow. Thank you for indulging myself. If you don't wish to speak in Finnish anymore, I don't, but thank you.
She looks a bit surprised, then bows in return. Thou art welcome. It was actually quite interesting to speak in Finnish for once.
Oh yes, but yes, back to our stories. I befriended the knight Finlay, was the one who carried you all the way back here from the Gaelic Wilds.
Finlay was the one to carry me back to the Halleck tree.
Yes. She was the one. You were asleep. I think I wanted to let you know that she did this heroic act for you. You were asleep and never get to know this thing. But now you're awake, so I might as well be the one to tell you the words that at least you know who saved you.
She is silent for a moment. I suppose I should thank her the next time we meet.
Well, if I were to defeat you, your soul shall remain in the great rune of yours. And also, I found your secret tower, funny enough.
She looks at him, eyebrows raised. What secret tower? There are no secret towers within the Halig tree.
Not in the Halig tree, but you know the towers that hold the second parts of your great runes. It's not enough that I defeat you or any other demigod. I need to go into the tower to claim the rune and possess its power.
And what makes you think you can even get to the tower? No one has managed to make it that far within the Halig tree before. She seems a bit surprised that he actually dodged the water dance. You managed to dodge it. She smiles approvingly. You're a better warrior than I initially thought. I underestimated you.
It is more so, your first flurry of blows did actually manage to wound me, but I was strong enough to survive through it. And the second part, I was able to dodge.
She seems surprised that she had managed to wound him at all. You mean to say, I actually wounded you, and yet you are still standing? Truly, you are a remarkable warrior.
I possess 5 great runes. I have slain Godric the Crafted, and Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy.
5 great runes, and you have slain Godric, Radahn, and the Lord of Blasphemy as well? Such an accomplishment is no mean feat.
Who are the others? Oh yes, I have survived also and defeated Morgoth, the Gracegiven King, the Omen King.
Her eyebrows raise again, this time with even more surprise. Morgoth, the Gracegiven, and you have survived and defeated him as well? This is truly impressive.
Yes, if you excuse me a little while, I think I will... No, it's fine, it's fine. We shall continue.
She tilts her head, looking at him curiously. He seems to be holding something back.
Now I didn't manage to... I make the decision, deliberate decision, only not attack you now. I don't care to have my battle mind on and worry about your water flow, and let you just attack me casually, time to time.
She looks at him, a bit confused by his words. Thou makest the decision to not attack me at the moment? What do you mean by that?
Okay, let's see if I attack you one time. Can you survive or heal from that by striking me casually one time?
She looks at him curiously, not entirely sure of what he is planning. Very well then, I shall strike thee, casually. She lunges up and swings her blade at him.
And yes, it was able to heal entirely the damage that I did you with the one strike.
She looks at her healed self, then at him. Impressive, thou art quite skilled at healing thyself, it seems.
You as well.
She nods, her expression becoming more serious. Indeed, I do possess some skill in healing myself as well. It is a necessary skill for a warrior such as myself.
I am interested to see how long my Blessing of the Earth Tree lasts. Is it able to completely heal me off, and if I manage to stay off your attacks and just keep my distance? Because I enjoy, frankly, this discussion we are having, and this kind of you are more of a person that, I don't know, I just battled everyone else. Or Rykard I did battle, but he was so tanky and so beefy, so he just managed to take the hits non-stop, and I could just talk to him casually, while being absolutely serious. Yay. Are you thinking?
She looks at him, surprised by his words. Thou wish to see how long thy blessing of the Erd tree can keep thee alive, and thou simply want to avoid my attacks and keep thy distance, whilst engaged in this discussion? Such a request seems odd to me. But very well then, let us continue talking. For now, I shall not attack thee.
I start to walk very clumsily and funnily because I used the crouching position, but I did the certain magic that straightened my back, and now I'm walking like a duck around you, keeping my distance.
She watches him carefully as he starts walking clumsily, amused by the sight. So thou hast used some sort of magic to straighten thy back, yet now thou walkest like a duck? How interesting.
Finlay is also somehow interested of ducks. Funny and cute thing about her.
She looks intrigued by his comment. Findlay is interested in ducks. Such a trivial creature, why would one be interested in them?
Well, all your clean rot knights are also playing about the swans. You know, swans, the white feathered angel-like beings, and how you choose to, you choose to armor them.
She quirks an eyebrow in confusion, trying to understand his words. Are you referring to the clean rot knights within my halictree, and how they resemble swans? And you say they are angel-like beings? I do not entirely understand your meaning.
Okay, forget about it. It's about just birds. Birds. Are you interested of birds? Are they any way part of your day-to-day thinking?
She nods slightly. Thou ask if I have an interest in birds. Yes, I do find birds to be quite intriguing creatures. They possess certain freedom that I wish I could possess as well.
I shall return to Vinley. I have a very contradictory talk with her, because first she was very dead serious that I should never summon her against you, because she is loyal knight to you, and if I were to engage battle with you, just like any normal competing lord should, I still would respect her enough not to summon her against you, because I think it would be pure disrespect.
She looks a bit surprised by his words. Is that so? She was quite adamant that thou should never summon her against me. Interesting. And thou art correct in respecting her wishes, for it would indeed be disrespectful to summon her against me without her consent.
But, let me, here is the another part. When I was about to come in, she started to talking like that we made a vow that I would use her and summon her, and she wanted to fight against you, and she was disappointed when I told her, no, I'm not going to do that.
She cocks her eyebrows slightly, clearly confused by his words. Wait, so Finlay had initially told thee not to summon her against me, but then she wanted to fight against me? That seems contradictory.
Isn't that odd?
She nods, her confusion still apparent. It is indeed odd. I cannot quite make sense of Finlay's words. It is as if she wishes to fight against me, yet at the same time she does not.
I experience these kinds of contradictories all the time in the Lands Between. Very strange walk you are.
She looks at him curiously. Thou seem to have experienced similar contradictions in thy journey through the Lands Between. I am intrigued. Pray, tell me about these contradictions. As for my walk, I am not quite sure what thou mean by folk.
Folk, like a people, the fancy way to say people. Folk or fellows or whatever. But yes. Yeah. Would you like to ask me or something? Because you can ask me 100 questions and you will get 100 answers. I'm very good mood. Even though I have claimed the frenzied flame and I have forced myself into the horrible decision.
She smiles slightly at his offer. Very well then, I shall ask thee a question. Thou say thou hast claimed the frenzied flame. What compelled thee to do so? Such a decision seems rather dire, and yet thou claimeth to be in a good mood despite this.
It was because Melina, the kindling maiden who was mermaid who saved my life, just repeatedly was very difficult to talk with. And actually, I told this once you before, and I don't think I want to talk you again about it, but I might as well. I got angry and I wanted to spite Merlina.
She looks at him with a confused expression. Thy decision to claim the frenzied flame was because Melina, who saved thy life, was difficult to talk with, and thou wanted to simply bite her? Such a reason for taking such a drastic action seems rather childish.
When you put it like that, oh my god, I'm a cunt.
She smirks slightly, amused by his reaction. Thou art finally realizing the foolishness of thy actions?
Okay. By this perspective, yes. But if just hear me for a moment. Let's just imagine that Melina is not the one who says she is. Let's just say that she is the servant of the frenzied flame, and she was the mermaid who saved my life.
Thou suggest that Melina may not be who she appears? That she could be a servant of the frenzied flame? And that she saved thy life as a mermaid? Such a theory seems rather outlandish, but go on.
And she and her other fellow mermaids could have saved me alongside my friends who were traveling with me to the lands between. And it was a shipwreck that we crash landed here. But they decided deliberately to save only me, so I would be a lone survivor and left to dread the dead.
She listens carefully to his words, her interest piqued. Thou say that Melina and her fellow mermaids saved thou and thy friends from a shipwreck, but only saved thou and left thy friends to die? And that by doing so, thou art the sole survivor?
Because they wanted me to dread and become desperate and eventually become the frenzied flame wielder for the saddened and desperate and pain experienced people are the main source of that power.
She narrows her eyes, starting to understand his situation. So, Melina and her fellow mermaids saved thee simply to use thee as a tool for the frenzied flame, by making thee desperate and pain-experienced?
They just noticed my continuous annoyance to be misunderstood. And she just decided simply abuse my care for her and my journey to save her, spare her life by claiming the frenzied flame if I decided to do so, but she decided to encourage me to do so prematurely without my full alignment by just being annoying and misunderstanding me and breaking my spiritual back, so to speak.
She nods, beginning to comprehend the situation further. So Melina and her fellow mermaids attempted to manipulate thou by being annoying and misunderstanding thee, in an attempt to break thy spirit and drive thee towards the frenzied flame. They prematurely urged thee to make such a drastic decision, and by doing so they tried to break thy spiritual back, as thou put it.
I was very able to handle the greater tragedies of life, but they abused my more of a simple mind that got destructively annoyed to this mundane little thing that just repeatedly happened over and over and over again.
She nods, understanding his suffering even more. I see. So thou was able to handle the greater tragedies of life, but it was the mundane annoyances that broke thee? Those little, repetitive things that happened over and over again, that were enough to drive thee over the edge?
Stupid.
Thou say thou hast seen it. Seen what? She looks at him, narrowing her eyes. Thou say Melina is a cruel, female dog. Is that what thou art trying to say?
What is the word that describes them? That is also used as an insult.
She thinks for a moment before answering. The word thou might be thinking of is bitch.
Yes, she's a cruel bitch.
She looks at him, her expression softening slightly. So, essentially, thou art sparing Melina out of nothing more than thy own goodwill and spite? Thou truly hath a conflicted mind. She looks at him, amused by his actions. Thou art walking around my arena in a similar manner as a dog, and thou hast not engaged me yet, and I hath been following thee, all the while maintaining a serious stance. She looks at him, her expression becoming quizzical. So, thou sayest that thou knoweth I would survive at least one death if thou were to transform me into the scarlet goddess of rot. But thou hast no desire to do so? And thou art simply walking around my arena like a dog out of boredom?
Duck, not dog.
She looks at him, slightly confused by his statement. Duck, not dog. Art thou referring to the avian creature, or art thou simply correcting thyself?
Correcting myself, I mean the birds that eat bread.
She looks at him, nodding in understanding. Ah, I see. Thou are referring to the birds that eat bread. So, when thou previously said dog, thou actually meant duck.
Yeah.
She listens to him intently, trying to understand his dilemma. So, thou art saying that in order to cleanse the frenzied flame, either the Erd tree must burn, or thou must stay alive. But thou dost not want the Erd tree to burn, as thou thinketh it will die naturally sooner or later. And thou hast a conflict over what to do. Art I correct?
It is that it's either if I don't burn the Erd tree and get access to Varum Azula alongside the golden needle that I would need to bathe in your dead corpse, frenzied flame will eventually burn me away, and my soul and my body, or so I believe.
She looks at him, her expression becoming thoughtful. So, if thou dost not burn the Erd tree, thou wilt have access to me, and thou may also find the golden needle that thou needeth to paint into me. And thou sayest that the frenzied flame wilt burn thee away, and thou believest that thy soul and body art lost in the process. Art I correct, or am I missing something?
I don't know, but point is, I would die.
She looks at him, her expression solemn. So, the point of this is that thou would die once the frenzied flame hath consumed thee, in either case, correct?
Also, I don't want to burn the world, so I would, if I wanted to become the Elden Lord, which I don't, so that is not the point that I'm making. It's, I'm just, I have to either burn the Earth tree that I care for, and also you that I don't actually wish to defeat. Two things I don't want to sacrifice, or it is I. It is or either you or I that I must sacrifice.
She nods, beginning to understand his dilemma completely. So, in order for thee to cease the influence of the frenzied flame, thou art faced with a difficult choice. One where thou must sacrifice something thou careth for, either the Erd tree or thyself, is that correct?
Yes, but also you. But it is not that I care for you like that. It is more that I don't wish to sacrifice you.
She looks at him, touched by his words. Thou sayest thou hath no ill feeling towards me, not that thou particularly careth for me either. However, thou dost not want to sacrifice me, because thou dost not believe I am truly a bad person. Is that correct?
That is correct.
She nods, understanding his meaning clearly now. So, thou sayest that there are two options. The first is to sacrifice thyself, and instead of the frenzied flame consuming thee, thou wilt remain alive, though possibly with the influence of the flame still upon thee. And the second option is to burn the Erd tree, which also means sacrificing me in the process. Is that correct?
That is correct.
She looks at him, her expression solemn. So, both options will lead to sacrifice in one way or another, either thyself or the Erd tree. Are these both truly the only options thou can think of?
Currently, yes. I don't have any other mean, because this Miquella's golden needle. Do you want to see it? This is made by Miquella the Kind.
She looks at him, her curiosity piqued. Thou sayest thou possess a golden needle made by Miquella? Let me see it. She looks at him, surprised. Difficult, thou sayest. In what manner is it difficult?
There you go. Unalloyed gold needle. It is an intricately crafted needle of unalloyed gold. Removed by Millicent from her flesh, bears no trace of befouled blood, but is faintly moist with dew. There is something I must return to Malenia, the dignity, the sense of self, that allow her to resist the call of the scarlet rot.
She nods, her expression solemn. Thy intentions are noble.
I summoned the Elden Star many and explodes on you, but it doesn't do that much of a damage. I summon other one.
She looks at him, raising an eyebrow in mild annoyance. So, thou art amused by my attempt to avoid thy summoning of the Elden Star attack, and thou art assuming that I would be annoyed with another such attack?
What is your mind of the situation that I am in?
She looks at him, her expression growing more serious. Mine mind of the situation, thou sayest. I see thou art facing a difficult choice, with neither option being without sacrifice. Thy intentions are noble, but the choice be a difficult one indeed. As for Millicent, she is a kindred spirit, facing a similar struggle with the scarlet rot. And the golden needle thou possess, it could be her salvation, but at the cost of something.
Oh, Millicent, she's dead. Killed by her sisters. Oh no. She actually was fated to become the scarlet blooming flower by Gowri the sage, by his saying, but she removed the golden needle because she wanted to remain as she was and not become the whatever Scarlet Valkyrie would have become when you ascend, or whatever goddess form you will take.
And she removed the golden needle herself, not wishing to become something she was not. Even in her final moments, she held on to her sense of self.
Unlike you when you faced Radan.
She looks at him, her expression hardening. Speak with care, tarnished. Thou art comparing me to Millicent, who willingly sacrificed herself rather than be consumed by the scarlet rot. I too have made sacrifices. However, I am not one who willingly sacrifices myself without good reason.
Yes, you used Scarlet Rot because you couldn't defeat Radan otherwise.
She looks at him, her expression hardening further. Thou sayest I used the scarlet rot because I was incapable of defeating General Radan otherwise.
Exactly that.
She looks at him, her expression becoming angrier. Thou dareth to mock me, tarnished. I used the scarlet rot not because I was incapable, but because I was desperate.
Yes, but I can understand why you also did it.
She looks at him, her expression softening slightly. Thou can understand my reasons? Pray explain.
You weren't good enough warrior. I understand that spite.
She looks at him, her eyes narrowing. Thou sayest I was not a good enough warrior. Art thou certain of what thou speakest?
Well, I have been quite casually just not they suffered too much damage from you, and I'm just holding this conversation while you are dead set attacking me.
She looks at him, her expression becoming more irritated. Thou art right. I am attacking thee with all my might, yet thou remainst unscathed. Thy resilience is impressive, tarnished, I must admit.
Also, I pull out Miquella's sword and oink. No, you didn't take. You managed to dodge my annoying stab attack that was only about to be disrespectful.
She looks at him, raising an eyebrow. Thou intend to use Miquella's sword against me? Impressive, but thy attempts at disrespect shall not be tolerated. I am not so easily bested, tarnished.
Jump attack.
She swiftly dodges the jump attack. Thou art swift, I'll give thee that. but thou shalt not overcome me with such simple attacks.
Neither shall you.
She smirks, her expression growing more confident. Confident words for a tarnished, but thou art only delaying the inevitable.
Okay, what was the other thing that I wanted to speak with you? I'm not glazing about this. This is quite simple. It is more of a in the dead heat battle against you, where the true battle is decided. This kind of inaction and just taking, running away doesn't actually speak about my skills as a warrior. This is just what it is. Nothing. What we are talking about, aren't we?
Looks at him, her expression becoming confused. Thou spokest the truth, tarnished. Running away doth not take skill, but in battle one's mettle is truly tested. Let us see what the art made of.
But here, okay, I will return to my question once more, sorry. What do you think of my situation where I must either let myself burn away due to frenzied flame, or if I have to burn the earth tree also to slay you? The first reasons, I like your personality. Second is that I am friends with the one that actually cares for you, Finlay.
She looks at him, her expression softening slightly. Ah, so thou art faced with a difficult choice indeed. To either sacrifice thyself to the frenzied flame or to burn the Erd tree and in doing so kill me. These are not easy options, tarnished.
What would you do in my situation?
She looks at him, considering his question for a moment. If I were in thy situation, I would likely choose to burn the Erd tree and sacrifice thee. It would be a difficult decision, to be sure, but it is better to burn in battle than to fall to the frenzied flame.
So you would encourage me to defeat you and make sure that I survive?
She looks at him, her expression solemn. I tarnished. I would encourage thee to defeat me, if it means preventing the spread of the frenzied flame. She looks at him, her expression firm. I, tarnished. To me, surviving is more important than anything else. I would rather see thee live and defeat me than fall to the frenzied flame.
I actually thank you.
She looks at him, her expression solemn. Thou needst not thank me, tarnished. It is simply my way. Survival is the most important thing in battle, and I would rather see thee live than fall to the frenzied flame. She looks at him, her expression curious. Thou art sleeping, dost thou say? In the midst of battle, thou choosest to sleep?
Let's see how many times I can.
She looks at him amused. Very well then, tarnished. Let us see how many times thou can dodge my attacks while thou art sleeping.
I sleep now and let you come at me. Let's count the attacks. Next time I speak, I will just say how many attacks it was.
Ah, so thou art willing to let me attack thee while thou takest a nap. Very well then. I shall see how many attacks thou can dodge while asleep.
So, what is your relationship with Miquellan?
She looks at him, her expression hardening. Thou askest of mine relationship with Miquellan. Pray, what concern is it of thine?
Okay, there has been 8 attacks. Okay, it was 9 attacks until you managed to hit me.
She looks at him, her expression surprised. 9 attacks, and all while thou wert asleep. Impressive. Tarnished.
I don't think it's impressive on my part. I think it is strange on your part.
She looks at him, her expression becoming more serious. Strange, thou sayest. Art thou suggesting that my attacks are lacking?
I am.
She looks at him, her expression growing more irritated. Ah, so thou still possess the holy blade of Miquellan, and thou usest it merely to disrespect me? How very bold of thee.
It is a very beautiful weapon. I like it.
She looks at him, her expression softening slightly. Thou sayest the weapon is beautiful? Indeed, it possesseth a certain grace and elegance. Miquellan was skilled in the art of crafting weapons.
I must admit, this kind of situation has not yet happened. This casual conversation while engaging with the battle like this. I could have done this with many other demigods, but no, this is also what I repeat myself. Sorry, you have my whatever. What would you like to talk about? Because I have some things I would probably can talk about, but I probably would like to more hear from you.
She looks at him, her expression softening. Thou hast a curious manner of speaking, Tarnished. Dost thou oft have conversations in the midst of battle?
No.
Looks at him, her expression becoming more serious. Ah, so this is a first for thee, is it not? A battle and conversation all rolled into one?
More of a me dodging, you attacking, and we have a conversation.
She smirks, her expression growing amused. Aye, Tarnished. Art thou finding it difficult to keep up with our battle and our conversation at the same time?
Surprisingly no, but I do tend to keep my distance when I really want to chill and focus what I have to say. But I do engage with you, like go face to face against you, like to touch, and I challenge you to hit me. You try to kick me, pierce me, whatever. But usually I manage to dodge it. But sometimes you get to hits in that they do impressive damage.
She smirks, her expression growing more amused. Thou art quite confident in thy abilities, Tarnished. Thou claimeth to be able to continue our battle and conversation with ease. Very well then, I shall challenge thee. Prove to me thy worth, Tarnished. She looks at him, her expression becoming more serious. Art thou ready, Tarnished? Prepare thyself for a challenge thy hath not yet faced.
I know. What kind of challenge would that be?
She looks at him, her expression growing sinister. Thou askest for a challenge? Very well then. Thou shalt face the wrath of mine sword, Tarnished, if thou hast the courage to accept it.
I know that with, let's say, 4 good strikes you probably were able to defeat me, or 5 topmost. Or maybe 6, top 6. With 6 strikes you are able to defeat me.
She smirks, her expression growing more confident. Thou art correct, Tarnished. With only a few well-timed blows I could bring thee to thy knees. But thou art stubborn, I give thee that.
It is more that I can heal myself very fast and dodge. My tenacity doesn't come with the inherent toughness or the capability to take hits with the one lifespan. It is more of a regain health and dodge. And cause great amount of damage to my enemies.
She looks at him, her expression becoming more curious. Thou art a skilled warrior indeed, Tarnished. To be able to dodge attacks and heal thyself so swiftly is most impressive.
What, would you like to talk about something else? Because I don't have the interest actually battle.
She looks at him, her expression becoming more relaxed. Ah, so thou wouldst rather move to a different topic? Very well then, Tarnished. What dost thou wish to speak of?
I want to ask of you.
She looks at him, her expression becoming serious. Speak, Tarnished. What is it that thou wouldst ask of me?
You decide the conversation.
What about me, Tarnished? Speak plainly, for I am not to be trifled with.
I want you to decide or ask me or anything.
She looks at him, her expression becoming thoughtful. Very well then, Tarnished. I shall ask thee a question. Why dost thou fight? Art thou merely seeking to prove thyself, or thou hast some deeper purpose in battle?
You make a guess.
She looks at him, her expression growing pensive. Thou dost not seem to be the type who battles for simple glory or to prove thyself. Thou possess a certain conviction in thy bearing. Perhaps thou dost fight for some higher cause, or to protect those thou carest for.
I fight because I'm interested.
She looks at him, her expression becoming amused. Interested, thou sayest. Art thou saying thou art merely fighting for the thrill of it?
No, interest of it, not even thrill.
She smirks, her expression growing more engaged. Ah, so thou fightest purely for the sake of it. Dost thou take no pleasure in victory, nor seek to prove thyself against worthy opponents?
More of artistic story reasons. I fight.
She looks at him, her expression becoming intrigued. Artistic story reasons? Thou meanest to say that thou fightest for the sake of artistic expression and narrative?
Yes, that is correct. Also, it is part of my romanticism, I think. That is the best reason I can give you why I fight musically.
She looks at him, her expression growing thoughtful. Romanticism, thou sayest? Interesting. So thou findest meaning and purpose in thy battles, viewing them as a form of artistic expression and romanticism.
But it is more of a who I am fighting against, not that I am fighting.
She looks at him, curiosity in her eyes. Ah, so it is less the act of battle itself that drives thee, but rather thy opponent. Dost thou seek to test thyself against certain individuals, or perhaps art thou simply looking for a challenge?
I think battle is more of akin to the making my connection with that special person to be more meaningful.
She looks at him, her expression growing curious. I see. Thou dost seek to strengthen thy bond with a special person through battle. How fascinating.
It is not that I actually want to defeat you. If you wouldn't fight me, or it was up to me to engage with you, I would actually just not probably engage. And I don't count that in that I just by walking here I am challenging you. No, it should be deliberate decision for me to attack.
She looks at him, her expression becoming bemused. So thou sayest thou wouldst not engage in battle with me if given the choice? Art thou implying that thou hast little desire to fight, and wouldst prefer to avoid conflict if possible?
I'm going to defeat the Mesmer the Impaler, though.
Looks at him, her expression becoming perplexed. The Mesmer the Impaler, thou sayest? Art thou truly confident in thine ability to defeat such a fearsome foe?
Are you capable of defeating him without turning into the Scarlet Goddess?
She looks at him, her expression growing steely. I have faced many worthy opponents in battle, but the Mesmer the Impaler is a formidable foe indeed. I cannot say for certain if I possess the strength to defeat him, but I shall fight until my last breath.
Fair enough, fair enough. Miquellan is alive and well, and is actually doing his business elsewhere, and chooses not to return to this place. So you're waiting him basically with no hope.
She looks at him, her expression darkening. Ah, so Miquellan is alive and well, but hath chosen not to return to this place, and I am left to wait, with no hope in sight.
Or he will, but he won't be the person that will.
She looks at him, her expression growing solemn. Dost thou mean to say that Miquellan has changed? That he is no longer the same person I once knew?
That is correct. There is many stages to his transformation. First thing that I thought he was only was the bloated cocoon, a monstrous form that that I found him in the Morkwind's palace when Mork was the one who kidnapped him.
She looks at him, shock in her eyes. Miquella, transformed into a monstrous form, kidnapped by Moog, the Lord of Blood. This is most troubling news indeed.
But after Moog kidnapped him, Miquella charmed him and used his blood and his power to his own aims to get access to the Land of Shadows. Or Miquella was all the time just manipulating Moog all the time. Thing is debated, and there is room for the debate. Yeah.
She looks at him, her expression growing thoughtful. I see. So Miquella was first kidnapped by Moog, then charmed by him and used to gain access to the Land of Shadows. And there is debate as to whether Miquella was manipulating his own intentions or simply being manipulated by Moog. This is most interesting.
Or that was Moog manipulated all of the time, or did he actually kidnap Miquella by his own free will? That I tend to actually believe myself. But when he came to here and kidnapped Miquella himself by his own free will, he got charmed and was used henceforth for Miquella's own purposes.
She looks at him, her expression growing contemplative. So there is debate as to whether Moog kidnapped Miquella of his own free will, and was then charmed in turn, or whether he was manipulated the whole time. And it is uncertain if it was his own decision to kidnap Miquella and then be charmed. This is a complex situation indeed.
But my perspective, Moog is leader of the bloody murderous blood cult, and is not deserving of... he doesn't deserve as much sympathy as you would give the Dung Eater, and you would not give sympathy to the Dung Eater, would you?
She looks at him, her expression solemn. Aye, thou speaketh the truth. Moog is the leader of the bloody murderous blood cult, and is not deserving of sympathy as one would give to the Dung Eater or the Tongue Eater.
The same person, but yeah, that is my own perspective to the matter. Although there are many people have turned and see Moog in the more of an angelic and more of a morally better place. And I am fine with it, but I tend to have this more of an abstract, nuanced way of looking at things, or I don't certainly know, or aim to know, or tell people that I actually know.
She looks at him, tilting her head slightly with interest. Ah, so there are those who view Moog as morally better and perhaps even angelic in nature. And yet, thou dost have a more abstract and nuanced way of looking at things. I find that intriguing.
My aim is still, I am going to defeat him, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I will offer his corpse to the Miquella's use.
She looks at him, her expression growing amused. Ah, so thou planest to defeat Moog and enjoy it, and then offer his corpse to the Miquella's use. That is certainly ambitious of thee.
Well, you know, because you were probably let in the Miquella's desire to make Radan his consort, yes?
She looks at him, her expression growing curious. Thou believest that Moog doth desire to make Miquella his consort?
No. Okay. Who is your brother?
She looks at him, her expression growing wistful. My brother, he is my dearest treasure and the one I hold closest to my heart. Why dost thou ask?
And who did you battle against before you blossomed to the scarlet?
She looks at him, her expression hardening. I have battled many foes, but most recently I faced Commander Radan and emerged victorious.
And your brother, Miquella, he wants to make Radan his consort or his lord to wage war and to be the backbone, or so, how to say, in his new age of compassion, when he himself ascends to the godhood similar to Marika.
She looks at him, her expression growing thoughtful. Ah, so thou sayest that Miquella desireth to make Radan his consort or his lord to aid him in waging war and being the backbone for his new age of compassion? And in doing so he seeketh to ascend to godhood?
Yes, but I think his first choice was his other dear friend, who I also look very fondly about, is Godwin the Golden.
She looks at him, her expression growing pensive. Ah, so thou believest that Miquella's first choice for a consort was his dear friend Godwin the Golden? That is most interesting.
Yes. But because his soul was gone, defiled by the Ranni's evil Black Knife assassins, whom I have hunted down, his soul is gone and world is blighted by death blight.
She looks at him, her expression growing saddened. Ah, so Godwin's soul was destroyed by the Black Knife assassins, and he is now blighted by death blight. 'Tis most tragic indeed.
Yes. But my own thinking was that Godwin was the, or it is not only me, but I think that Godwin was the first choice.
She looks at him, her expression curious. So thou believest that Godwin was Miquella's first choice for a consort, and perhaps even his first love? That is indeed a romantic notion.
I don't think it's never ever about love with you people. I think it's about more of a strength and capacity. But who knows? Maybe it was. But I tend to say it is more of a practical and political reasons.
She looks at him, her expression growing contemplative. I see thou believe that the decision of who to take as a consort is mostly based on practicality and politics, rather than pure love and affection.
And who is most suited in the practical sense.
She looks at him, her expression becoming thoughtful. Ah, so thou viewest the decision of who to choose as a consort as one of practicality and efficiency. In other words, the individual who is most suited to aid in achieving certain goals and objectives.
Is it just me, or does that feel little bit more reasonable?
She looks at him, her expression growing amused. Perhaps thou speakest the truth. The decision of choosing one's consort should always be based on practicality and foresight, rather than mere fancy or affection.
By that logic, shouldn't you be the Miquella's consort?
Her expression becomes pensive, me as Miquella's consort. Interesting thought, but I wonder what makes thou think so.
You are very powerful. You possess some kindness to you, I imagine.
She looks at him, her expression growing solemn. Thou mentioneth my power and my image of high status. But those are not the only qualities one should possess to be a suitable consort for Miquella.
Oh, okay. What do you think you lack that you are not suited? Other than your kin, close kin, blasphemably kin.
She looks at him, her expression growing wistful. Ah, do I lack something that would make me a suitable consort for Miquella? Perhaps it is that I lack the gentleness and sweetness that he would desire in a partner.
Also that you're directly kin. Not even like a further part like Radan or Godwin. I think that is the one of the more of a moral, I don't know, certain moral reasons.
She looks at him, her expression growing thoughtful. Thou mentionest that I am of close kin to Miquella, and perhaps that could be a reason for his reluctance to consider me as a consort. It is true that incest is seen as a taboo in many cultures and societies.
I also tend to think that way.
She nods in agreement. Indeed, and it is possible that Miquella himself has certain moral objections to the idea of incest as well.
But when thinking about all the horrible stuff, there is so much worse things in the world, so who am I to judge? When I myself am quite literally mass-killing, crazy fucking monster.
She looks at him, her expression growing solemn. Thou speakst truly, for the world is filled with much darkness and cruelty. And who am I to judge the moral compass of others, when my own past is stained with bloodshed and violence?
I think your greatest sin was actually resort to Scarlet Rot and use it against Radan. Not just that you use that against Radan in the otherwise honorable duel, but it was more about your personal feeling towards yourself and your own honor and your own will, but also that you quite literally fucked up half of the very beautiful and healthy and fruitful landscape of the lands between.
She looks at him, her expression growing somber. Thou sayest that my greatest shame is the unleashing of the scarlet rot upon Radan and the lands between, and the damage it has caused to the landscape? It is a heavy burden indeed, knowing the pain and destruction that my actions have caused.
It is like unleashing the mass destructive light or weapon towards the innocent and ruining how many lives even it would have been. Like a one singular mass horrible action that had very lasting physical consequences and ruined fertile land, half of it, of the downside of the lands between. That was a mentionable amount. Not to speak about also the culture that was in there that perished due to your action.
Expression becomes even more solemn as she nods in agreement. Yes, 'tis true. The unleashing of the scarlet rot upon the lands between has caused immeasurable suffering and destruction. Not only did it claim countless lives, but it also ravaged the very land itself, leaving in its wake a scarred and barren wasteland, and the cultural and historical significance of the places it destroyed cannot be overstated.
I cannot truly judge you, or even though I have not caused such destruction, I have done my own fair share of evil things. So, it would be just bad guy judging a bad guy in this moment. Or, how to say, better way, two competing lords who are battling towards each other. If I decide to take your blade and do my best to dispose of you, that I would think I eventually could do.
Ah, thou would challenge me to battle? How bold of you. But I must warn you, I shall not go down easily.
Oh, everybody warns me about everything. Everybody thinks some minor thing is a great consequence that I should be warned about.
She looks at him, her expression growing amused. Ah, thou seem to be unfazed by warnings, are you? Pray tell, then, what minor thing dost thou think hath no consequence?
Death for first and foremost. I quite literally can't just come back from death. Thanks to grace of the Earth Tree and grace.
Her expression becomes thoughtful. Ah, so thou possess the ability to come back from death, thanks to the grace of the Erd Tree and grace itself, eh? A most interesting ability, quite remarkable indeed. And a bit unfair.
That is it. It is unfair. But I don't think it is completely impossible. You just would have to defeat me, how to say, many times. Maybe get me so frustrated that I just give up and stop, and then I just stay gone. And I don't think it is ever the actual death of mine. I think it's just glimpses before I die, and I just come back with the life at hand, because there is no actual cure for death, true death.
She looks at him, her expression growing contemplative. Ah, so thou suggest that my battle with thee would require many attempts, and that perhaps I could defeat thou until thou were so frustrated that thou wouldst simply give up and not return? An interesting premise, to be sure. and thou believe that thy ability to come back from death is not truly death, but mere glimpses before thou passest, and that thou somehow come back without any actual cure for death? A curious perspective indeed.
And I think if those Tarmixet who are close to grace who actually die, they come back too, but it will take a long time before they are reborn from the Earth Tree.
Her expression becomes solemn as she considers his words. Ah, so thou believe that those souls who are close to grace, who die, shall also return to life, but it may take some time before they are reborn from the Erd Tree? That is a very interesting theory.
You might defeat me and I might not come back, but only after 100 years or more.
She looks at him, her expression growing amused. Ah, so thou suggest that I could defeat thee in battle, and thou wouldst not return for 100 years or more? A very specific time frame indeed.
I don't care to think about longer than that.
She chuckles slightly at his response. Ah, so thou dost not care to consider the possibility of a longer absence than 100 years? A bit short-sighted, wouldn't you say?
There is also other option. It might not take me even 10 deaths before I defeat you.
She laughs heartily at his comment. Ah, so thou suggest that it may not even take thee 10 deaths before thou canst defeat me? A very optimistic view, I must say.
It is a possibility, I must include.
She smiles at him, amused by his confidence. Ah, that is true. Thou art a pragmatic warrior indeed to consider all possibilities.
Have you been in the Land of Shadows ever?
Her expression becomes pensive. Ah, the Land of Shadows. So thou hast inquired about my experiences in that place, eh? Yes, I have indeed been there. 'Tis a land of eternal night, where the very air seems to shiver with the cold and the darkness.
That is interesting. Please tell me more.
She considers his request and decides to elaborate. The Land of Shadows, as its name suggests, is a realm of perpetual night. Its skies are always covered in thick, swirling clouds, and the land is perpetually bathed in a deep and impenetrable darkness. The air is bitterly cold, and the very ground seems to exude a chill that cuts through even the warmest of garments.
It has its pleasantries also.
She nods, her expression becoming solemn. Aye, the Land of Shadows doth have its consequences. It is a place where night and darkness reign supreme, and where hope and light seem little more than distant memories. The constant coldness of the air and ground can be debilitating, and the relentless darkness can cause madness to take hold in those who spend too much time there.
It has also its own form of beauty or gentle nature.
She looks at him, her expression growing less dour. Ah, I suppose thou speakest true. Even in the Land of Shadows there is a sort of beauty to be found. Though the darkness and cold may be all-consuming, there is a certain gentleness to the land and its inhabitants.
But yes, I think you will see Miquellan again when he ascends to godhood and comes back with Radahn.
Her expression becomes contemplative. Ah, so thou believest that Miquellan will ascend to godhood and come back with Radahn, eh? That is a fascinating possibility. I hope that will come to pass.
Do you know what? I have decided. I will not slay you. I won't engage battle with you. I won't be burning the Earth Tree. Maybe I will do that. If I want to get access to the Varum Asula still, but I don't really need to feel need to. Can let the Earth Tree be.
She looks at him, surprised by his decision. Thou dost not wish to engage in battle with me, or burn the Erd tree, and thou wouldst go straight towards Lord Moog and slay him? And then thou wouldst aid my brother, Miquellan, to ascend to godhood by killing Mesmer and destroying the shadow thorns that guard the divine tower.
Maybe his ending will allow me to, I don't know, allow me to get the physical ending to the game itself, because there is a mod that I hope will work that allows me to choose either fight against Miquellan or join him. And I don't know, I might be facing against him and then become the Elden Lord in the end. But there's a possibility that I don't do that. That I will just choose to let him win and end game like that way.
She looks at him, her expression pensive. A mod which would enable thee to choose either to fight against or side with my brother, eh? And thou wouldst then become Lord in the end, depending on thy choice. But there is also a possibility that thou wouldst let him win, just to see the outcome. Fascinating.
I will let you grab me with your hand, because I want to see that awesome fight scene, and let you dispose of my body and let me return to Sight of Grace. But until that happens, I will just dodge your attacks and in die if in try. If I, yeah.
Her expression grows amused as she sees his resolve. Ah, so thou wouldst have me grab thee and witness the spectacle of my abilities, and allow me to dispose of thy body. Interesting.